Ladies and gentlemen, there's a really wonderful channel that I've been watching for a while now. It's Jameson Travels, and he's a Marine, lifelong Marine who gives perspective on current events and issues pertaining to the military. Pretty awesome for somebody like myself who's never been in the military, yet respects and admires the courage and the bravery and the sacrifice of veterans and soldiers. Jameson Travels is a great channel. 706,000 subs. He deserves 2 million, 3 million subs. He's awesome. But I just got a notification of a video where Marine officer Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller brings charges against leadership in Afghanistan. And then I looked and I found the video where Lieutenant Colonel Scheller announces these charges. So it's not really being, it's not yet publicized, but if you can share this segment, I'll put the segment from Jameson Travels below in the description section, and I'll also put its accountability, then VR/US, Stuart Scheller. So Stuart Scheller has his own channel of 24,000 subs, 24,000, almost 25,000. He needs 3-4 million subs. This man is amazing. And really quickly, he's right, and I've talked about this for a while. The Doha Agreement, if you look at what Trump negotiated, demanded that we, all our soldiers, American citizens, because we still have Americans left behind, all the weaponry, American citizens and Afghans who deserve to come to the country for helping us for 20 years. The Doha Agreement said we had to be out by May 1st. Biden, to spite Trump, didn't begin evacuation in January, February, March. He could have, after January 20th, begun evacuation. January, February, March, April, and then May 1st we were supposed to be out. And we shouldn't, part of the Doha had nothing to do, the Doha Agreement that Trump negotiated to reverse 20 years of failed foreign policy, because we can't, there's no way to win a counterinsurgency conflict. So I've written against counterinsurgency wars in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post. You could read my writing against opposing counterinsurgency conflicts on hagoodman.com. We should have learned from the French in Vietnam and our experiences in Vietnam and the Soviets in Afghanistan. So we put Americans in an unwinnable situation, just like we put American soldiers in an impossible situation in Afghanistan to evacuate hundreds of, over 120,000 people within the span of 2 to 3 weeks. 13 American soldiers lost their lives because of Biden, because he didn't even know as of March. The Los Angeles Times and others reported that Biden hadn't even known what he was going to do, whether he was going to stay indefinitely, we were going to stay indefinitely in Afghanistan, or leave. So after in April, he decided, we're going to leave, but on Biden's terms. So mashed potato brains and bumbling Blinken, and they all look like a deer in the headlights. Mashed potato brains, our beloved president, said, well, we're gonna abide by the agreement and start leaving after May. So that wasn't the agreement. The T-ban, we'll just call them that, stated there would be repercussions. Then Biden used the T-ban as security outside the airport in Kabul, in addition to abandoning Bagram, in addition to leaving $28 billion to $60 billion worth of weaponry. Night vision, Humvees, armored vehicles, Black Hawk helicopters, 600,000 rifles, all of these things that we've armed them for years. So the issue, ladies and gentlemen, is the following. I'm going to go ahead and you can hear the actual you can hear the video. Let's see if we can. The video is below, but this is Stuart Scheller. So let's see if you can. I'm kind of low tech here, and so let's see if you can hear exactly what he's saying.
I am announcing. Well, I've read the entire UCMJ in the last 2 weeks of my purgatory and all the punitive articles, and it turns out that all military officers are subject to the UCMJ. It's because it appears to me that no general officers are willing to hold each other accountable. I am submitting charges against General McKenzie for his bad assumptions. Not because I'm vindictive, but because the senior leaders need to be held accountable to the same standard as us. I will drop the charge sheet so you can see my legal argument on social media. I will route it through my chain of command. I will also route it directly to the former Raytheon board director, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. Then concurrently, I will file an IG complaint, and then we'll just see where that goes. Additionally, I'm starting a foundation to raise money through the Pipe Hitter Foundation. We'll drop the link. It will be live on Monday, where people can donate to my family that's moving on to the next chapter, and also to raise legal fees for the legal argument I'm making against the CENTCOM commander.
All right, so he is leveling charges, going through the proper channels to level charges against senior leadership within the Marine Corps and the Secretary of Defense. And so hit subscribe to this channel. You can go ahead and see the actual video of Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller actually, saying all of this. If obviously the audio here wasn't that great, but you can see the video. You can see the Jameson Travels segment below. He's awesome. And so Stuart Scheller is truly a hero. Here's why. When there is a catastrophe, a foreign policy and military catastrophe and disaster, media Democrats, they don't care. They simply say, well, at least we got out 120,000 people, but there are still Americans left behind. And Biden's also armed the T-band for years to come. That was not part of the Doha Agreement. Biden reluctantly, grudgingly, reversed U.S. foreign policy only because he was forced to bring home Americans. He was forced to by Trump, who actually negotiated a deal that, had we implemented in its entirety, would have had us out by May 1st and would have instructed the military and the government to start evacuation in January, after he was inaugurated. January, February, March, April. We would have had January, February, March, April, 4 months, not 2 to 3 weeks of a rushed evacuation, where we still have Americans left behind. We have, I don't know how many Afghans left behind, but there are legal residents that are left. And the Biden administration gave lists of American names to the T-band, and we don't know if the T-band gave those names to ISK or AQ or any other group there. So it was a complete disaster by Biden. Okay? Complete and utter disaster. Now, you have these people. You have Bob Woodward's book, where General Milley had allegedly called his counterpart in China. These are the fever dreams of apoplectic, always morally superior, hysterical, maniacal, morally superior liberal Democrats. And I was a Democrat my whole life up until voting for President Trump. So I know how they think. They believe the nonsense and the hearsay and the gossip and the absurd fantasies of authors in books that have sources that say that Trump or that generals were worried that Trump would start a nuclear confrontation or war because he was upset he lost. Nothing could have been further from the truth. These are all baseless claims without any evidence at all. The hearsay and gossip about Trump is worth more to media and Democrats than leaving Americans behind in Afghanistan, 13 Americans who lost their lives directly because of Biden's incompetence and Blinken's incompetence, and the people that he's Stuart Scheller is leveling charges against. The truth about them doesn't get media excited. Gossip and hearsay and conjecture and these fantasies that Milley was so worried he had to contact. Well, who do you think's more courageous? Milley or people who just come out of the woodwork to go after Trump during the first impeachment when he didn't even commit a crime? Or the people who didn't warn the country or Biden, or didn't do what they had to do to keep Americans safe. American soldiers they put in harm's way. They put in an impossible situation that what they did was unbelievable. The soldiers on the ground, what they did to evacuate people in a chaotic, hectic, and dangerous environment where Biden actually asked the T-Band to help us. That should never have taken place. We were beholden to them. And we gave a timeline and a date when we should have already been out in May. We should have already evacuated started evacuation in January. Those Americans should be alive today. They're not because of Biden. And Stuart Scheller is 100% right. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel. I have another channel, the Stock Market Crash channel, where I explain exactly why record high margin debt, inflation, consumer price index, producer price index at all-time highs, derivatives trading, where you have Dodd-Frank laws and legislation that hasn't even been enacted 10 years after the legislation passed Congress to regulate derivatives trading. We saw the Archegos hedge fund go bankrupt, $10 billion in losses just the other month, in March or April. So you've seen all of this, and we have consumer confidence low, and we have GDP revised downwards. There are all these signs pointing to a tremendous collapse. Margin debt at an all-time high at a greater percentage of GDP than at any point. The same percentage of GDP, about 3.6%, as margin debt was prior to 2008, 2019, and 1987. So, and there are so many more economic indicators we can get into, but I talk about that on the Stock Market Crash channel. I hope I'm wrong, but I do predict a market crash within the next year. I talk about all of that, but that channel is below in the pinned comment. Subscribe to this channel. Definitely subscribe to Jameson Travels. He's awesome, and that's why I know about this story. And so I look, and Stuart Scheller's video is below. So share that everywhere. Thank you so very, very much. I have a live stream every day at around 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Pacific. So I'll have a live stream tomorrow at 6 p.m. or Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific.